Brought to you by Bethel School of Technology. Learn more at betheltech.net/Ken Coleman. Most unethical behavior goes unreported and unresolved. Yikes. I'm going to cover this because I have a heart for leaders and leadership. Not just a heart for you, the worker, the employee. I have a heart for everybody in the world of work. I want people to win at work. And a huge, huge component to winning at work is being in a good environment. And where there is unethical behavior that is going unreported, and more importantly, going unresolved, this is not a good environment. So I want to address it. And I want to address it holistically. I want to address it from you, the employee, who has seen it, reported it, and not seen it dealt with. And then I want to cover it from the role of the leader and the leader perspective, or manager. So here's where we are. Let's just set the scene. This is a Gallup article based on Gallup data. U.S. perceptions, we're talking about U.S. workers, U.S. perceptions of honesty and ethical standards in nearly 24 sectors of our economy. We're talking about professions, sectors, are down compared with measures from 2019. So in 24 areas of our working economy, 24 industries, if we want to call it that for further clarity, way down on employee perception of ethical and honest behavior. Gallup's most recent study they did earlier in 2024 they studied the frequency and the impact of unethical behavior in U.S. organizations. And not surprisingly, where there is unchecked and unmanaged ethical behavior, bad behavior, it saps employee engagement and it kills the culture of the organization. Of course it does. You want a bad culture and you want to do it quickly? I got your answer. You want to hey, leader, you want to destroy your culture quickly? I got it. Allow unethical behavior to happen, and good people are going to bail. They'll bail emotionally first, and that will affect their engagement. And then second, they're going to bail physically. They're going to leave you. So I'm being a little bit sarcastic, not a little bit, a lot sarcastic, but leaders, come on. You're not going to get away with letting unethical behavior live. You got to correct it. And to the extent that you cannot correct it, you remove it. Right? Pretty simple. What do U.S. employees think about all this? How does it affect them beyond what we just said about engagement? 23% of U.S. employees say they have personally seen or firsthand knowledge of their colleagues or manager demonstrating unethical behavior in the past 12 months. This again from a May 2024 Gallup survey. Employees with firsthand awareness of unethical behavior in their organization are nearly 3 times as likely to be actively disengaged and 2 times likely to be burned out. We already talked about the lack of engagement, but let's talk about the rate of burnout when an employee knows that bad stuff is being allowed to exist. It weighs on them emotionally and mentally. Why? Because they're good people. Good people. Good people care about right and wrong. Now, we're going to get into that in a minute. What if you care about right and wrong, but you do nothing about it? Are you still acting as a good person? There's your ethical question of the day. I care about it. I see it. I know that's wrong, and it bothers me. I care. But if I stand idly by, am I now taking on the character of a good person? I'll let you answer that. I think you know what I think. 43% of employees who had firsthand awareness of unethical behavior in the past year within their organization say they did report it. These are good people. They raised their hand. But let's talk about the 57% who didn't. 57% said, nope, no thanks, not my problem. 57% of employees who knew about unethical behavior said, I'm turning my head the other way. I'm not getting involved. Well, let's look at what they reported as to why they didn't say anything. 22% said they thought no action would be taken. 20% said they were afraid of retaliation. And 9% said they previously reported something and it was not a good experience. So you thought I was going to get mad at these people and judge them. I'm not. Let's look at these three reasons. 20% said, I see it. It bothers me. I don't think any action will be taken. Why do they believe that? Because they're watching the circumstances around the bad behavior and they go, I think everybody's kind of aware of this that's in a leadership position. And my gut tells me they're not going to do anything about it. 20% said, I think if I raise my hand and say, this is not good, that I'm going to actually get clapped back on. Now, I could say to that person, and I could coach them, and I could say, you still got to do something about it. You got to do what's right. And after you do what's right, nothing's dealt with, then you got to move on. That's the standard advice I've given callers who've called in on this very situation. However, I'm going to hold the leader responsible for that as well, because a leader, and we're going to cover that very briefly, should create a culture and environment where someone goes, I'm not worried about being retaliated against. I feel safe raising my hand saying this was not right. So, what did Gallup find on managers who do this right? Here are three things they found. When managers model integrity themselves, so they act with impugnable integrity. So people look at them and go, my leader always does the right thing. I do not question their integrity. So they model integrity. 2, they regularly facilitate conversations about integrity with the team. In other words, they talk about it openly with the team. Listen, we want to act with integrity, and if there's ever a lack of integrity, you bring it to me, and I promise you we're going to deal with it. So they model it personally, but then they say, not only do I hold out myself as someone who should be above reproach, I'm also going to be the sheriff about this within the team. And then number 3, they appropriately react to unethical behavior when they see it. So quick review. Number 1, they model a high standard of integrity. Number 2, they talk about that standard being upheld and they empower the team to raise their hand and bring it to them. And then number 3, when it is brought to them, they act on it. So what happens then? Employees that see this are 3 times more likely to be engaged. Hello. And 4 times as likely to say, I'm connected to the culture of this organization. That's a huge response. So leaders, what do you take away from this? Do those 3 things. Model integrity. Talk about integrity and say, my door is open. When you see a lack of integrity, you bring it to me. And I'm going to tell you this, when you bring it to me, I'm going to root out the lack of integrity. And what happens is people say, I feel safe. I like this leader. And as a result, I like this culture in this company. And they come to work and they're fired up and they stay longer. Folks, it's pretty simple stuff. Don't cut corners. Do the right thing. Launch your tech career today at betheltech.net/Ken Coleman.